My name's Larry McCallum. I'm from Lumberton, North Carolina, and I go to UNC Pembroke, and I'm majoring in environmental science with a concentration in sustainable agriculture. This summer, I worked in the Choudoir lab at NCSU, and we wanted to take a closer look at Rhizobia and their sort of role in broader agroecosystems. So we took a closer look at the plant microbe symbiosis that these bacteria Rhizobia form with leguminous crops like soybean, clover, hairy veg, etc., and sort of seeing how that sort of function of the soil microbiome changes based on geographic location. The most interesting thing I've learned in this internship as it relates to how agriculture looks in North Carolina is agricultural systems can be very variable across the state. Like one of the most interesting things is that we've taken these farm tours over the summer, and our first farm tour was in the eastern part of the state, and farmers here, they have a much easier time, sort of. There's much more arable land, much more space because of the terrain. And then when we toured the western part of the state, the mountains, we got to see how farmers with a much more limited space, because the mountains are more, hilly, there's less suitable farmable land. Seeing how they sort of adapt their systems to sort of meet those challenges has been really interesting. I heard about CEFs from back at UNC Pembroke. My sustainable agriculture professor, he sends out frequent announcements like, hey, there's a program, you should apply, maybe you'll get in. I decided that this program would be good for me because I knew that I'll be working in a lab, and most of my undergraduate experience so far has been limited to the field. So picking up those wet lab skills I thought would be really, really valuable. It's been really amazing. Actually, I had an epiphany sort of near the end of the program that made me realize I do want to apply to graduate school. Sort of being immersed for 10 entire weeks in hardcore research and a ton of lab work where I get to lead my own research project. That sort of gave me a taste of what grad school is going to feel like. And I found out that I actually really enjoy it. Before I came here, I was expecting to find out that I didn't enjoy lab work at all, and it's been the exact opposite. So that's been really cool. Back home in Lumberton, we have a lot of issues with availability to quality food. We also have issues with agricultural pollution, a litany of environmental problems. And so that was my initial motivation for choosing to major in sustainable agriculture. And this program has just sort of solidified that choice. I think I made a pretty good decision. Yeah, so I definitely, after I, of course, graduate with my bachelor's and then get out of grad school, I hope to sort of bring the knowledge that I've obtained back to the community back home and see if I can, change things for the better. The best part of this internship was definitely the people I've met, the connections that I've made, and the skills I've obtained. I've learned more valuable skills in the last 10 weeks than I've probably learned my entire undergraduate career. It's been an ordeal. Yeah, and then the people have been awesome. Our internship program, we all click really well. We're all super supportive of one another. I have a bit of prior research experience, none of it as extensive as this program has been. It's just been like little side projects at school or little science fair projects throughout high school. So this was sort of my first big do your project on your own type deal. I don't have a background in agriculture. My closest connection to agriculture is that my dad was a sharecropper when he was a kid. I didn't expect to end up in agriculture when I started college, but here I am. My experience with CEFs has given me a lot of connections. It's opened a lot of doors. It's made me a lot more hopeful for the future, just like in terms of my own career. I feel like I have like a lot more direction now. I know more of what I want to do in the future. Yeah, I'm a lot more motivated now going into grad school. the biggest role of agroecology, especially now, considering our struggles with climate change, things like water availability, our freshwater reserves are depleting. The role of agroecology really is to mitigate the negative effects of climate change as much as possible, and find more sustainable ways to produce the food that we all love to eat. Examining soil microbiomes and microbes in general is really important because so oftentimes when we talk about evolution and ecology, we only think of organisms in terms of how they compete with one another, but really a lot of the evolutionary relationships that different organisms form with one another, especially microbes and plants, are not ones of competition, but ones of symbiosis. And so if we can figure out ways to, cultivate soil, inoculate soil to better foster these symbiotic relationships, we can do a lot to help mitigate the negative impacts of climate change. I would definitely recommend this internship to other students. For me, I can already tell it's going to be one of those life-changing experiences that I'm going to look back on and be like, yeah, I don't regret that at all. I've had a lot of realizations just about myself in general, not just as it pertains to like my ability to perform well in my career, but just like personal growth stuff. Realizing that, when people say I am capable or I am grad student material, they're not just saying that, they're saying it for a reason. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this to other people. Being honest, the stipend was a big draw, but I think getting away from home for 10 weeks, that's not something I get to do that often. Getting away from home and getting immersed in, like I said earlier, really intensive research experience has been really good for me. It's helped me develop, my open-ended problem-solving skills. Time management is another big one. Initially, entering my undergraduate studies, for my major courses, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to do research. I knew that I wanted to work somewhere in the lab. I just didn't know exactly what field that would be in. It wasn't until I became aware of all the issues with sustainability that we experienced back home in Lumberton that I was really like, okay, somebody needs to do something about this. The good thing is that we're, back home we are trying to start up a lot of, environmental justice organizations, organizations that try to help regulate agricultural pollution, and I just want to contribute as much as I can to the development of those programs.